What's up, YouTube? What's up, Xtreme Gainz family? I'm Chuck. This is Xtreme Gainz. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today is Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. And this is the AMC, GME, and SPY Algo Exposed daily update and preparation video for tomorrow and beyond. As always, I hope you had a great day in the market today, and I hope you were able to make some extreme gains for yourselves. I'm going to go over all the regulars that I always go over here, my snake algos for AMC, GME, and SPY, as well as some macro comparatives. So with that said, let's dig in. Real quick, my extreme gains today were as followed. My scalp ideas, I have 7 tickers that I set up every single day. They provided 13 separate entries from trigger today, the highest return being 85%. I had 375%, a 70%, 350%, 340%, and a couple 25 and 15. So they landed dead on again today in multiples. That was badass, as well as I had talked to my premium members today and alerted them in the morning powwow that I felt like AMC and GME could make a strong move to the upside today. And lo and behold, AMC finished the day up 14%. GME finished the day up 29%. It was an extreme gains day today, y'all. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I hope you had an opportunity to do so for yourselves. All right, let's dig into these charts. On your screen is AMC on your left, SPY on your right, the 5-minute intraday movement and charts for them with my micro intraday snake algo on both of them. Once again, another day of projection and fulfillment from the micro intraday snake algo. SPY was a little bit cleaner. It was a market open to market close application in 2 pieces. And AMC was a 10 a.m. to market close application in 2 pieces as well. These things are stupid. I'm not lying. All right, the intra-week snakes. I had showed you 2 of them last night because we had a diversion yesterday from the previous snake to the downside. I always clip the day of and the day prior to. Day prior to is here, invalidated today, not the one. The day of the day of diversion, projection and fulfillment today to the upside, to the intersecting confluence of third poles. This is a micro third here from the box top setup, and this is a macro descending reverse third. So moving forward, if this intra-week snake is to continue to fulfill its projection, it is indicating back downside to the 1050, and then some after that if it were to continue to fulfill in its entirety. Also, in last night's video, I showed you the previous snake prior to trimming off the tail to clean up my chart. I had talked to you, shown it to you, and talked to you about thinking that this movement to the downside and potential diversion yesterday was an inverted mirroring of this upside move in a downside manner. And I had done this in the video where I had mirrored it and pulled it down here to show you what the projection would look like from it if it would fulfill in a mirrored fashion. And if that's what it was doing. It's candle for candle. To the upside, projection fulfilled. Obviously, the indication for projection from this moving forward is the same as what the potential new intra-week snake is. It's a rejection off that confluence of thirds back to the downside. That there would expire, and this here would pick up, but they're both showing the same thing. So both of those projections fulfilled for that upside move today for AMC. And that is what I am looking at for the potential rejection and downside intra-week snakes. If price action were to breach this confluence to the upside and we were to continue upside, today would be the clip I would use from micro to macro. It gives candle for candle projection in its overlap of today's price action. The outlook and potential projection from it in this position moving forward is obvious. Heavy move to the upside, continued upside, ironically going right to the macro conservative third that I have pulled, sitting waiting here for it, and it would indicate that this W formation would be completed once it were to get to that level. Excuse me. So that is what I am looking at in its entirety with the intra-week snakes for AMC. The macro comparatives for AMC. The OG macro comparative of the macro double-double from the macro descending wedge prior to the January 2021 run-up in its alternate placement that I had shown you and have been showing you since Monday. This is something I looked at over the weekend and had reevaluated this macro comparative and found this to be somewhat relevant. And the projection from it going into today was an upside move. In its entirety, this upside move runs up to the 1350 area. According to this in this position, it looks like about half of that has been fulfilled. Therefore, going into tomorrow, the projection from this would be a continuation to upside to the 1350, some consolidation prior to a rejection and a move back downside, which looks to be not until Friday, if that were to fulfill in that manner. Then I had shown you a alternate bottom using the previous bottom over here. Due to the way GME is currently, which we're going to look at in a minute, fulfilling its previous bottom once again right now. And I had clipped that and shown it in two different potential scenarios, both of which are downside to a lower bottom. However, the path to get there is a little bit different according to both placements, but I think they're both relevant, and I have been watching them and tracking them accordingly. This one here indicates a move today back up to the 1250 area prior then a rejection after the 1250 to the downside. Bear with me, y'all. This is like 8 takes for this damn video. I'm having a hard time talking. So 1250, then rejection. So this looks like a breach of the confluence of thirds up to around the 1250, then reject, and it does appear to be tomorrow that rejection and fulfillment of that would take place if it were to fulfill this setup and this scenario of the alternate bottom. Then the secondary position of that is a more compressed version of it, like this. And the projection going into today was a short-term upside move right here to the intersecting confluence, a rejection off of that back down to the downside. We are starting to reject off of that currently. Whether or not that fulfills in its entirety, this one here as well appears to show the rejection tomorrow as a projection coming from that comparative in that position. So I have the two alternate bottoms showing downside tomorrow, one after an upside move to 1250, one directly, and then the macro comparative from prior to the January 2021 run up showing a continuation to upside to about the 1350 area prior to some consolidation throughout the rest of the week, and then a potential move to the downside Friday or maybe even Monday according to that one. So those are the two there that I'm looking at. Well, I got to thinking here today, I don't have a bullish macro comparative. I have to have something bullish. So I started digging today, and something I came up with is a little interesting. And I think those of you that follow what it is that I do and really comprehend what it is that I do have noticed with me that there are a lot of invert mirrorings going on, a lot of price action. According to some of the macro comparatives, they just flip and mirror themselves. If it projects upside, the price action goes downside, and candle for candle fulfills the movement of the projection, but in a mirrored manner to the downside. And I thought, is there any way that this bottom here got mirrored and got past me somehow, and I did not see it? So what I did was I looked at it, I put it there, and I thought, holy shit, this looks like this. This here looks like this here. So I clipped them, and I flipped them, and reversed them. Somebody sing it for me. Here is this clip mirrored. And let me move the macro comparative over here so you can see it. Dead on. Then I clipped this and flipped it and reversed it. Dead on. So I thought, holy shit, if they snuck that by me, I'm gonna be blown out if this is what happens. So if this by some wild chance is what has happened here, that would indicate to me that there may be one, possibly two more 4-hour candles here that would need fulfilled to finish out this consolidative period here prior to the initial parabolic move to the upside in the fulfillment of the potential replication of the move up for January. So that is what I will be looking at potentially for this to maybe fulfill itself in this manner if price action were to breach the 1350 and go continuation upside after that. So that is my bullish macro comparative scenario that I am currently keeping an eye on and tracking. That is AMC. Excuse me again. GME. The current intra-week snake for GME that fulfilled. I was again looking at two because they continually both fulfilled. The consolidative one that had continuously fulfilled was this one. The indication going into today was the upside move, but then consolidation at the 102 and then a rejection potentially going into tomorrow. It blew right by that. So the first part of it was a fulfillment, and then the second part was an invalidation of it. However, the other one, which is the bullish scenario, I had shown you this in last night's video and clipped this and said, let me entertain you, and showed you that it was a perfect invert mirroring of the projection to the upside being fulfilled candle for candle to the downside. And I said one of two things: it's either going to converge back with this snake to the upside, or this snake would have been mirrored in its entirety, and I would have to pull this down here, and this would potentially fulfill to the downside. Well, lucky for us, this thing converged back with its snake to the upside. GME finished the day up 29.19% at 115.17. The current projection from this moving forward, if it were to continue to fulfill in this manner, let's look at 4 hour, appears to be back downside, a W formation prior to the next leg up, if it were to continue to fulfill this snake. That W formation appears to be between the 98.50 and the 105 with its fulfillment. If it diverts in any way, I will be clipping a new snake. This thing has fulfilled now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now 8 days of fulfillment with one invert mirroring here to the downside prior to the move up today. Then the macro comparative is from the previous bottom right next door here. And this is in the framed in macro double setup that I have had on this chart. We figured out today since December 15th. I have had this on this chart, this third pull and this framed in potential double bottom has been on this chart since December 15th, and it has fulfilled like you see it. So that replication of this double bottom here, again here, would fulfill the macro double in its entirety if it were to do that. So the macro comparative in that position fulfilled itself perfectly today to the upside for that 30% move to the upside again. The projection from it moving forward looks to be some consolidation for a good chunk of time here if it were to continue to fulfill in that manner without an invert mirroring to the downside here if it were to drop down out of here. If it were to follow this candle for candle, you see it on your screen prior to the rest of this. A long ways off, a lot can happen between now and then, and we will continue to track this daily with everything else like we always do. If this were to breach this to the upside and go ahead and make the move up to the macro third that I have had sitting here waiting for it in this price region of $140 per share, then I would clip an intraday snake and use that for the new intra week and consider that a potential diversion from the macro comparative if it were to be anything different than this as far as the pullback W before the move up. I'm talking if it were to go out of here tomorrow to the upside. So that is what I am looking at with GME in its entirety. And then last but not least, SPY. SPY finished the day green 0.88% at 397.37. The macro comparative for SPY is the red. It is from the 08-09 crash in what I've called the extended version that I've been tracking the entire time I've been on this channel since December of last year. And we are right here in this consolidation of this, what I've called the cliff. And I previously had this up here, but got to looking at it, and we are fulfilling all of this projected movement at a level change down here. We got projection and fulfillment from that today, moving into tomorrow in this position. It appears to me to potentially be a short-term move upside and then a pull back down and a retest of the macro descending reverse third, and then obviously moving out past tomorrow, a move back upside, and this consolidation throughout. I've said this before, this is not a candle for candle projection. I've never interpreted it as such. I have looked at it as a suggested path. So if it continues to fulfill in any way, my only personal expectation is consolidation in some form in this path to make this round top formation. And then obviously if it were to get out here and fall off the cliff to complete the 08-09 replication of the crash, then we would be talking about that then and there. So that's where we're at within the macro comparative from 08-09. The current intra-week snake is the yellow. I've had 3 of them on here that I've done live, that I've tracked live. I've applied them live, tracked them live, and they have fulfilled almost perfectly 2.5 weeks, 4 weeks, and now 4.5 weeks on the current one. We did start to potentially divert from this one here today. I'm giving it a little bit more here, right? This neckline here for this W, there's a small W here, a large W here. I'm giving it the neckline of this small W here. and I'm going with the 399, 399.50. If this breaks 399.50 to the upside prior to a rejection, then I believe we've diverted from this. I'm not going to invalidate it yet. I have invalidated too early before and have learned my lesson long ago to leave things be for the time being. I would rather leave this here for now. I will clip a new snake here for a potential new one, and we will look at it tomorrow evening and then go from there with tomorrow's price action. If this obviously does not reject and come back downside in a strong way tomorrow, if we continue upside, then it is at that point going to be invalidated and finished as far as it being fulfilled to this manner, 4.5 weeks, and then I will clip a new one. Excuse me. So that is everything I have for this video and everything I have that I am personally looking at with AMC, GME, and SPY going into tomorrow. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you all very much. I appreciate it greatly if y'all would do y'all's thing like you always do in the comments and with that like button. I will put an update and prep video out tomorrow night, like always, after market close. So I will hope to see you all then. Take care, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Later.